Hello. So today I'm going to do a video about gold. Really apologize that I haven't done any videos recently because I've just been really busy dealing with the after effects of the fucking lockdown here in Thailand. It's been an absolute nightmare for my businesses, but now I should have a bit more time now the lockdown's actually started. So I haven't really been trading gold much at all, and I'm really just kind of looking to get back into it. Perfect time too, because we have the CPI data coming out tomorrow, and as we know, CPI data means typically lots of volatility on gold and potentially a change in sort of general price direction or trend direction for both gold and the dollar. So let's get into what we can kind of expect. I mean, first of all, just to look at gold overall, obviously the last time we had the CPI data was actually on June 10th, right? Which was actually not great for gold in terms of the actual data. The inflation was so high, and what that actually caused was the Fed to then continue or start discussing raising interest rates sooner, tapering asset purchases sooner, and basically easing on the monetary policy that they've been implementing right now, which is basically print more money out of nowhere, right? So and that all really stemmed from the CPI data that came out on June 10th. And since after that, we had the Fed meeting and all that, and we really just saw that continuation of just disastrous few days after for gold. And now we've actually seen a pretty good rebound after we had that bounce off of 1750 where we, made this kind of newer low, but then we got that rebound. And then just with everything going on lately in terms of the news and what's all the data that's coming out, everything's just very mixed in the moment. And that's kind of what I think we're seeing being reflected, especially if we look at the hour chart over the last few days or so, or last week or so, in terms of the price action, just this very up and down, choppy, volatile price action. And frankly speaking, not very fun to trade and not really great to trade, really. Just how choppy and how kind of unpredictable it is. So I'm really kind of hoping that tomorrow when the CPI data or the inflation data comes out, that it's going to help us really determine where we can expect gold to kind of go next. Okay. And where in particular can we also expect the dollar to go next, right? The dollar, we really tried to break out of this 92.5 level. We almost got out there a bit for some time, this price range, but we just got rejected again. And, obviously there was profit taking happening, but there just, I guess, wasn't enough momentum to really get up there at that moment in time. And now with the CPI data that's coming out, if we take a look at investing.com, we can really see that in terms of the forecast for tomorrow's CPI data, the forecast is actually expected to be lower than the previous month. So we actually are expecting to see a decrease in the CPI data. Now, why is this important? Well, the reason that this is important or relevant is because this would kind of basically add credence or basically, add validation to the idea from the Fed, what's happening right now, which is what they're saying. Their narrative that inflation right now that is being experienced in the economy is transitory. If the inflation is transitory, it means that there's no need to panic so much when the inflation is completely overboard, and there's no reason to rush into raising interest rates and easing on the monetary policy. Okay, so as you can see, the forecast is actually expected to see a reduction, which would kind of lead to the narrative that yes, um, inflation is in fact transitory. Look, inflation is decreasing. So what do I expect, therefore, as a result? What I do expect is that if we do hit this forecast or even slightly below it, so slightly below, and we are definitely below 0.7%, the last reading, I do actually expect this to be positive for gold. So it's kind of like counterintuitive, right? Because most people think that when inflation rises, gold should rise, but that's really not the case. I expect that, or I kind of am expecting that if we see a lower inflation number, it's actually going to cause gold to potentially go up and the dollar to become more bearish because it's going to let the Fed essentially breathe, and it's going to let the Fed just be able to tell people, hey, look, you see, it is inflation, it is transitory. The inflation is transitory. So we don't need to worry so much about raising interest rates right now. We don't really need to worry so much about tapering asset purchases right now. Let's just continue our current policy and let's just continue to let the economy grow and prosper, right? Because a lot of the economic data coming out right now from the US is still looking pretty positive. So then if inflation is also going to start heading downwards, right, then it's just going to basically validate the Fed more and what they're doing more in the eyes of investors, I think, which is going to actually lead the dollar to be bearish because the dollar is going to be more bullish if interest rates were to increase. If the CPI data leads the narrative of interest rates increasing to go away, it's going to lead to a more bearish dollar and consequently a more bullish gold, in my opinion. Vice versa, if the actual CPI data comes out much higher than the forecast, so if we hit back to 0.7% again, or if we even get back to crazy levels like 0.8 or 0.9%, right? And we have gone over the forecast, the last 3 CPI reports. If we actually do see that, that I actually think could be actually negative for the price of gold, or bearish for the price of gold, because it's just going to add so much more extra impetus to this already current narrative right now in the media and among investors that um, we need to stop this crazy monetary policy. Otherwise, inflation is just going totally out of control, and it is here to stay. So that's why I think that right now the CPI data is going to potentially lead to pretty big moves in the market. And I'm not just talking about moves on the hour chart like over the next couple hours, but I do mean much larger moves in terms of the overall day trend, right? Like, are we going to really continue to see a situation where 1800 becomes kind of a new support and we start heading towards 1820 again, retesting that and breaking through that and heading towards those 1840, 1850 levels? Or vice versa, are we going to break back down below the 1800 and then start retesting 1760, 1775 type of price levels? Okay. I do think that this kind of data release could have serious implications in terms of the daily price trend or like the 4-hour price trend for gold. And based off that, based on what the data actually ends up being, right? Because it's impossible to know what it really is going to be, right? You're just fucking gambling at that point. But based on what that data potentially could be, then we can choose to see how we want to position ourselves. Um, just given where price is currently right now, I'm not that interested really in opening a position prior to the data, not unless like I feel like price were to go a bit lower, like to 1790 or something, just because the forecast is looking like it could be more bullish for gold at the moment. Um, but I don't know. I most likely won't open a position right now. Like I said, I haven't been trading gold for the last week and a half, so I just kind of want to take the next 24 hours as well just to kind of analyze the market. Sometimes you just need to do that, you know. And actually not trading the market over the last week and a half has been kind of refreshing, especially because before that last week and a half, I had like maybe 3 kind of red trades. And I don't know, maybe I just needed a break so I can kind of like, you know, settle down, cut that bad momentum, and then just re-enter the market as well. So um, let's see how price goes tomorrow. Um, see how the CPI data releases, see what we can interpret from it, and I'm surely going to do a reaction video to the CPI news and the price action once the data comes out, maybe the morning after. We'll see how it goes. Anyways, if you have any questions, definitely leave a question in the comment. I'm happy to answer. If you disagree with me, leave a comment. I'm happy to debate because I certainly could be wrong. It's very hard to read right now, just given how mixed the market is at the moment. But anyways, if you liked the video, if you like the analysis, please consider giving me a like, giving me a sub. Really want to buy a nicer microphone, man. So I'll do that if I hit 1,000. All right, later, guys.